Now we come to the last speaker. அதான் நம்ம பேசிட்டு இருந்தோம் ஃபஸ்ட்டு இனிஷியலி நியூ இயர் ரெசல்யூஷன்ஸ் பற்றி பேசிகிட்டு இருந்தோம். டாப்பிக்கும் கிட்டத்தட்ட சேம் தான். ட்ரிவன் பை பர்பஸ் அண்ட் பவர்ட் பை ஃபைனான்ஸ் பை பிரசன்னா சீதாராமன். இஸ் MFD, is a CEO of Prime Investor Service and has 2 decades of experience in various fields covering institutional sales, trading, wealth management, corporate channels and exports. In his career, he has achieved commendable milestones in sales of mutual funds to retail, HNI and corporate clients. Now I invite Mr. Prasanna on the stage.
So I don't want to thank anybody and take too much of time for thanking people. Let me get into the presentation straight away. I don't think I require a mic. Am I audible enough? Okay. Before getting on with the presentation, generally what happens is, I always say a saying, our mind is like a parachute. It functions only when it opens. So let's keep the session interactive, and maybe, whatever experience that I've gained over the last 2 decades, I would like to share my experience. And before sharing that experience, let me just give you a disclaimer. In Veetikita, there is one construction that is happening. The compound wall of the construction is much bigger than my house. The compound wall of the construction is much bigger than my house. So that's the kind of construction that's happening. And you know what happens? Next week, I think they have planned their housewarming ceremony. And before the housewarming ceremony, normally what people do? Invitation கொடுப்பாங்கங்க. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? பூஷ்ணிகால. They used to draw an ugly face in the pushnika pumpkin, and they used to hang that pumpkin in a sauk maram, correct? Sauk kamba or something like that. So why do they do it actually? That's exactly what I am going to do for the next 40 minutes. So IFPA has done a great job. So probably, our revenue streams have grown much bigger. So நம்ம திஷ்டியை நெக்ஸ்ட் 1/2 மணி நேரத்துக்கு பேசி யாராவது ஒருத்தர் கழிக்கணுமே அப்படின்றதுக்காக என்ன கூப்பிட்டுருக்காங்க. தட்ஸ் ஆல். Pushnika. Hope after this presentation you don't break this Pushnika. So the topic of the presentation is driven by purpose and powered by finance. As I said, I'm planning to keep it very interactive. Okay. So we have seen lots of booms and bursts in the market. I started my career in 2002-2003 as a trader, stock market trader basically. And I have a friend who's sitting next to me here, who's partnering me in my venture. And my first attempt in terms of investing in equity market was a super bumper failure. So I want to venture into equity markets, make money. Those days I used to get a salary of 9,000 rupees per month. And எங்களுக்கு ஒரு பெரிய ஆசை, 9,000 rupeesல ஏதாவது கொண்டு போய் வீட்டுக்கு கொஞ்சம் கொடுக்கணும். நம்ம வீக்கெண்ட்ஸில் பார்ட்டி பண்ணுறதுக்கு நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுறது? நம்ம ஈக்விட்டி மார்க்கெட்லேருந்து ஏதாவது சம்பாதிச்சு பார்ட்டி பண்ணிப்போம் அப்படின்னு நான் நினச்சேன். ஈக்விட்டி மார்க்கெட் என்ன பார்ட்டி பண்ணிடுச்சு. So the point I'm trying to say is, I failed in my attempt to make money in equity market as a trader. So what do we understand from this? Trading is a zero-sum game. I always tell my investors, if somebody is making 10 rupees profit, what it means actually is, there's somebody who has lost that 10 rupees. That is why you are able to make the 10 rupees as profit. But when it comes to long-term investments, is there a chance we lose money? There's always a possibility that you'll make money, right? It's not a zero-sum game. So the point I'm trying to say is, when an investor comes, I always say, sir, the first attempt, எதுக்காக நான் ஃபெயில்யூர் ஆனேங்கிறத உங்ககிட்ட சொல்கிறேன் அப்படின்னா, nobody makes money without learning mistakes and correcting its mistakes. That's exactly what happened to me. And in this industry, how do I stand out as an investor? First of all, before we convincing our investors to invest with us, we need to be convinced, right? That's when we'll be able to convince our investors. ஏன் ஹோட்டலில் நானே காஃபி சாப்பிடல அப்படின்னா வரவனுக்கு எப்படி மசால் தோசையும் காஃபியும் கொடுக்க முடியும்? See, are we convinced as an investor at this point in time? Let me ask a simple question. Are we convinced enough 100% money into equities now? How many of you are doing it? 100% of your investments in equity. இவர் கடன் வாங்கி வேற இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்றாரு போல இருக்கு. So, okay. See, I've been investing in markets since 2003, and at any point in time, I have never decreased my equity exposure. At any point in time. All I do is, I just keep navigating the markets. So I keep doing my investments, and if the market falls, I add on to my investments. That's exactly what we are doing. And basically what happens is, I ask this question, what is the difference between investing in a developed economy and a developing economy? Can someone say what is the difference between investing in a developed economy and a developing economy? In developing economy. Exactly. So many investors, if you say this phrase, they don't understand, right? Many of us think that they know everything when it comes to investments. That's how they come to you. So you have to tell them that I am much superior in terms of the knowledge that I own in this industry. That is when they get convinced, correct? Say, in a developing economy, what really happens? Exactly. இன்னைக்கு போயஸ் கார்டனில் வீடு வாங்கினோம், போயஸ் கார்டனில் சரி வேண்டாம், போயஸ் கார்டன் வேண்டாம், நிலமே இல்லைங்க. அண்ணா நகரில் நிலம் வாங்கினா அப்ரிஷியேட் அதிகமாகுமா? திண்ணனூரில் நிலம் வாங்கினா அப்ரிஷியேட் அதிகமாகுமா? Exactly. So if you want to make money, you have to keep investing in a market which is vibrant and which has got development in its face. That's exactly where we are at this point in time. Let me just give you a perspective. Many of us watch cricket match, right? Where are we right now? Many of us watch one-day matches, right? And the first power play is for first to பத்மநாபன் சார் தான் கிரிக்கெட் தான் டெய்லி கிரிக்கெட்டை பற்றி தான் பேசுவார். அவரோட எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ் எல்லாமே கிரிக்கெட்டை பற்றி தான் இருக்கும். ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பவர் பிளே இஸ் ஃப்ரம் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஓவர் டில் 10 overs. தட்ஸ் எக்ஸாக்ட்லி வேர் ஐ வாட்ச் த மேட்ச், கரெக்ட்? 15th ஓவர்லேருந்து 40th ஓவர் வரைக்கும் எத்தனை பேர் ஓடிஐ மேட்சை பார்ப்பாங்க? அப்பப்போ ஸ்கோர் மட்டும் பார்த்துப்பாங்க. 40th ஓவர்லேருந்து 50th ஓவர் வரைக்கும் எத்தனை பேர் மேட்ச் பார்ப்பாங்க? So we are in the 15th over till 40th over in equity markets at this point in time. So what do we expect? For the next 15 overs till 40 overs, maybe it is a period of 3 quarters, 4 quarters, I do not know. But what do we expect for in the 15th over till 40th over? Strike rotation, high returns. Strike rotation and odd singles, frequent singles and odd boundaries. That's exactly the phase that we are in. See, what I normally do is, I always give my investors a bigger picture. I never sell any product to my investor. How many of you sell investments? Let's be very honest. யாருமே இல்லையா? அவ்வளோ நல்லவங்களாங்க நீங்கள் பார்த்தா தெரியலையே. How many of you sell investments? I want hands to go up. Many of us sell investments. I have started this career since 2003, and since 2017, I am on my own. And since 2017, I realized one point where I should not sell any product to my clients. The moment you start selling, அவங்க வந்து வீட்டுக்கு போனோடனே பர்ஸை ஒழிச்சு வச்சுருவாங்க, அப்புறம் செக் புக்கே இல்லைன்றவாங்க. So I never sell any product to my customers. I only tell them, this is how the markets are, and this is how we are positioned, and this is how India is at this point in time. At any point in time, my mother and my mother India will never disappoint you. So that's one. And what happens typically when a baby cries? The mother has to feed the milk, correct? So the baby has to cry for the mother to respond. So as an investor, what we are supposed to do? We have to invest for the markets to deliver. And many of us would have heard this during 1995. Am I taking too much time on one slide? Maybe I think I'll run out of time, but still, I'll try to do some justice. During 1995, everybody would have said FMCG is very high. IT companies are very high. People who invested during that time in FMCG stocks, did they make money? No. 10 years, did they make money? IT companies la 10 வருஷம் கூட பணம் பண்ணல. 15 years, they didn't make money. So eventually, what I'm trying to say is, people who have invested during those times in IT stocks, they invested 100 times of price earnings. But still, markets delivered. That point in time, if I told you there's one company which will come and deliver idlis and biryanis to you, which will be a part of Nifty 50, you would have laughed at me. You would have laughed at me. And இவனடா பைத்தியக்காரனா இருக்கான் ஏதோ லூஸ் மாதிரி வந்து உளறிட்டு போகிறான் அப்படின்னு இருப்பீங்க. கரெக்டா இல்லையா? And how many of you have gone to railway stations to book tickets? Everyone. I'm sure there are lots of gray hairs here. So, the point I'm trying to say is if I say a company, you are going to railway station to book your railway tickets, there'll be one company which will get listed. Again, you would have laughed at me. And today, I'll give you a perspective. See, many a times, I always tell my investors, every day, whether you invest in equity markets or whether you don't invest in equity markets, you have to live through equity markets. You wake up in the morning and the first thing that you do is, இருங்கங்க லைட் போடணும்லங்க லைட் போடாமல் பாத்ரூமில் இருட்டில் போய் so you switch on your havels, correct? And the electronics, the cable, which is KE Industries, which transforms the electricity, and you take a paste, which is Colgate, and you take bath with HLL, and you change your baby's diapers through Nestle, and you travel through Hero Honda or Maruti or Ashok Leyland or whatever it is. So you wake up in the morning and till your night, and during COVID, thanks to a lot of people who were jobless, but the population did not increase, because that company is also a listed company, Mankind Pharma. So I don't want to get into the details of it, but I'm just trying to give you a perspective. So what I typically do is I take sectoral bets when it comes to customers. I tell my customers, I ask them some simple questions. So which industry will be a game changer next 10 years? Let's introspect. Let's do a brainstorming session. Which industry you think will be a big game changer next 10 years? Exactly. AI, semiconductor. You can say many things, right? So the point I'm trying to say is, can you identify multi-baggers in them? Do you have the capacity to identify multi-baggers in them? For me, investors are nobody, I would say, I don't want to, you have to excuse me for using an unparliamentary word. Investors are one who cannot touch their buttocks with two hands. Do you think they'll be able to identify multi-baggers? So who will be able to identify multi-baggers? Only the fund managers will be able to identify multi-baggers. People who have got experience, people who have got the capacity to research and identify a potential company which could turn out to become a multi-bagger. And investing is nothing. It's not a rocket science. It's only simple patience and time which can give you returns in the long run. So always, an equity, as I said, it's a very, very simple asset class. If the asset class is so simple, why is it so difficult for me to make money in this asset class? I need to have right understanding, right expectation, right company, right valuation, right timing, patience. Last but not the least, tolerance for volatility. Do you think an investor who has got zero knowledge on equities will have this expertise? So who has got the expertise? Who is supposed to have that expertise? Fund managers? We are supposed to have the expertise. So what happens is, there is a phrase, I always keep saying this phrase. Experience is something that life gives, it's like a comb that life gives you once you become bald. But I have got this experience 10 years before, அப்போ என் தலையில் கொஞ்சம் முடி இருந்தது. So the 7-step logical process that we follow when it comes to sales, we prospect the customer, we speak the right language with the customer. How many of us carry a performance report to the customers? Performance report, fact sheets. Sukumar mattum. How many of us carry paper and meet the customer? Let's be honest. I kaiye varamatinga naane pestiriken. நான் எதுவுமே எடுத்துகிட்டு போக மாட்டேன் சார். The reason why I am saying my sale practice is completely different. I take my India and my mother India with me to sell my product. I don't need a performance report. I don't have to tell because I'm setting a wrong expectation with the customer. The moment I say this fund has delivered 20% returns to you, this fund has delivered 30% returns to you. So what happens is, if you're delivering something which has delivered 30% returns to you, you are giving a wrong expectation to the customer. I tell them, do you believe India can grow next 10 years? How many of us here believe that India can grow in next 10 years? Madam, நீங்க ரொம்ப லேட்டா கை தூக்குறீங்க. லேட்டா grow ஆகுமா? 12 yearsல grow ஆகுமா? So how many of us here believe? The point here is, if everybody believes that India will grow in the next 10 years, where are you supposed to invest? If somebody asks me this question, that will India grow in next 10 years, நான் ரெண்டு கையை மட்டும் தூக்க மாட்டேன், ரெண்டு காலையும் சேர்த்து தூக்குவேன். So basically what I do is, I ask them relevant questions. I make a proposal. I handle their objection. I tell them, boss, I have my knowledge, my experience, my wisdom in the last 20 years in this industry. If you think I will not be able to deliver, do you think you will be able to deliver for yourself? That's exactly my point. The confidence that you need to deliver is what makes the difference when it comes to customers. And typically when the sale gets closed, how the sale gets closed? Can someone share the experience, Sundar? When the sale gets closed? I'm sure there are lots of veterans, sir. Badhu sir, when the sale gets closed? When you ask for check. When you ask for money, that is when the sale gets closed. So typically after my presentation, after me handling the customer, the first thing that I do and the best thing that I do is, எப்ப பணம் கொடுக்க போறீங்க? பணம் கொடுக்க போறீங்க? These are my core principles. It's nothing that, I am right or I am wrong. This is my way of doing things. See, in equity markets, nobody is right and nobody is wrong. Everybody is right, everybody is wrong. And who is right? Markets. Markets are always right. So, what I am trying to deliver is, I set clear expectations. I never sell returns to my investors. I sell India and its true potential to my clients. And I think with whatever we have spoken, you understand the role of an advisor, where he comes in, with what kind of a knowledge that he comes in, and what he delivers to the clients. And typically, I always sell the long-term story to my customers and never compromise on what's good for my investors. I never do a postman's job. If somebody says that I want to invest in SBI, there's nothing wrong. Don't take me wrong for the name of the fund. I'm just saying, somebody says that I want to invest in X product, I don't encourage them. If you think that X product is best for you, you go ahead and do it yourself. I am not an executor to execute what you say. You never go to a doctor and say that you give me a prescription of this medicine. Correct? So you have to trust me that this guy has got the capacity to do it, so what he advises me will translate as returns for me. So basically, I empower my clients. Okay. So basically, what I try to do is, I empower my clients, I win their trust, and this industry gives me a lifelong learning. And I keep learning every day in and day out, it gives me a different experience. A client that I speak to will give me a different experience. A client that I handle will be, every client is unique in nature, right? So I get to learn different characters. And I build meaningful relationship with each of my customers. I'll give you a simple example. There's a servant story. There used to be one client of mine who invested few crore of rupees, should be more than 4-5 crores of his portfolio, and there used to be a servant. அந்த அம்மா காலையில் பெருக்கிட்டு கோலம் போட்டு போவாங்க. And that lady is pretty old. She should be 60 plus. And she wanted to invest some money in equity markets for her granddaughter's ear piercing ceremony. ஸோ அந்த இயர் பியர்சிங் செரிமனிக்காக அவங்க இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுறேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு தான் என்கிட்ட இன்வெஸ்டே பண்ணாங்க. அண்ட் 3.5 years 4 years down the line, இந்த எஸ்ஐபியிலேருந்து எடுத்து அந்த இயர் பியர்சிங் செரிமனி பண்ணாங்க. அந்த அம்மா என்கிட்ட தம்பி நீ சொன்னதை நான் பண்ணேன் கண்ணா, எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம், என்னால் அந்த பொண்ணுக்கு இயர் பியர்சிங் செரிமனி பண்ண முடிஞ்சுது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. The point is, look at what I have done. I have transformed that lady's life. So that's exactly what we are supposed to do. This birth for me in this life is to transform everybody's life and make them wealthier. And for which I am being paid what? Handsomely. Double handsomely. And tell me one business which is less capital intensive. One business. என்னங்க இல்லைன்றீங்க? நம்ம பிஸ்னஸ் கேபிட்டல் இன்டென்சிவே கிடையாது. நம்ம யாருமே நம்ம பிஸ்னஸ் கேபிட்டல் இன்டென்சிவ் சொல்லவே இல்லையே. This is the only business which is, there is no capital that is required. மூளையோட கிராம் எவ்வளோ? 350 கிராம். ஒரு லேப்டாப்போட விலை எவ்வளோ? 15,000 ரூபா, 20,000 ரூபா. உங்கள் ஏஆர்என் கோடு இருக்கிறதுக்கு 50,000 ரூபாயில் நீங்கள் பிஸ்னஸ் ஆரம்பிச்சிடலாங்க. எந்த பிஸ்னஸை 50,000 ரூபாயில் ஆரம்பித்து மாதம் 5 லட்ச ரூபா சம்பாதிக்க முடியும்? So these are my, some of the points when it comes to passion and what I speak, what language I speak with my customers. I set the goals very clearly. Sir, உங்கள் பொண்ணு கல்யாணத்துக்காக இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுறீங்க, உங்கள் ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட்டுக்காக பண்ணுறீங்க, உங்கள் வெல்த்தை க்ரியேட் பண்ணுறதுக்காக பண்ணுறீங்க. So your goal is very clearly planned. So when your goal is very clearly planned, so you don't have to worry about what's going to happen next year. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen the next quarter. And if your goal is very much planned, and if the market gives you a surprise and discount by 20% downfall, add on to your investments. Because your investment horizon is not 1 year, 2 years, it's 10 years, 20 years. That's exactly what I do to my customers. And last but not the least, learn to say no. No means no. No means no. பிங்க் படத்தில் வர மாதிரி. பிங்க் படம் பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா? ஸோ த ரீசன் why I am saying is, there are certain clients that we have to say no. There are certain things when it comes to client's perspective that you need to say no. But no means no அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா போயிடுவான். அதை வேறு மாதிரி சொல்லணும், டிப்ளமேட்டிக்காக சொல்லணும். நான் நம்மங்கிறதுனால கொஞ்சம் அழுத்தி நோ மீன்ஸ் நோன்லாம் சொல்லிட்டேன், அந்த மாதிரிலாம் சொல்லிடாதீங்க, அப்புறம் இன்வெஸ்டர் வரமாட்டார். அண்ட் தி பெஸ்ட் திங் தட் ஐ டிட் இஸ் இன்வெஸ்ட் இன் யோர் செல்ஃப். சின்ஸ் 2017, I'll give you a simple perspective. I'll come to that slide later, but still, ஒரு விஷயம் நான் இதில் ஜஸ்ட் ஷேர் பண்ணிக்கிறேன். I kept investing in myself. And since 2017 till now, I have not done any application in paper. Not one application in paper. The reason why I am saying is, there's one customer of mine who is 85 years of old. He said, நான் பேப்பரில் தான் இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுவேன். பண்ணுங்க, பேப்பரை சைன் பண்ணி கொடுங்க, நான் மேண்டேட் செட் பண்ணிடுறேன், அதுக்கப்புறம் மெயில் வரும், அந்த மெயில் அப்ரூவ் பண்ணிடுங்க. So the point I'm trying to say is, you have to define what is required for you to grow. The moment you succumb to investors' requirement, your business will not scale. 28th of May 2015, Black Day of Prasanna Seetharaman. The day I was being laid off from my employment. You know what happened? Amitabh Bachchan, before becoming an actor, what did he do? நான் அமிதாப் பச்சனோட என்ன கம்பேர் பண்ணிக்கலங்க, ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளுக்காக சொன்னேன். Nobody something, and when you think, you always should think bigger. Question? No. When Amitabh Bachchan, I have to give a disclaimer, right? The moment I say Amitabh Bachchan and Prasanna Seetharaman, people think that நான் அவ்வளோ பெரிய அப்பா டாக்கிறேன். அப்படிலாம் இல்லை, கொஞ்சம் கம்மி அப்பா டாக்கிறது தான். So, the first and prime most, when Amitabh Bachchan, before becoming an hero, what did he do? All India ரேடியோக்கு போனார். And he was being royally rejected. For what? And today, Who's Amitabh Bachchan? Icon of voice. So the point I'm trying, 28th of May 2015, I still remember sitting in a hotel, 12:45 in the afternoon, and crying like a baby. My friend is next to me. He knows what I've gone through. I was being laid off because I was not able to meet my targets. I was a poor performer. Unrealistic expectations. That's exactly what, I always say, be aware of a man who's naked and who offers his shirt to you. That's exactly what corporate does. So they, ultimately they work for the bottom line. But I work for my gross happiness index. There's one country which has got gross happiness index. Which is the country? Exactly, Tappu. Bhutan. Finland is also one. After that. So the point I'm trying to say is, I work for customers' happiness index. Of course, I make money in that formula, but the point is the person who trusted me and gave his first investment was none other than my dad. That is his folio. He gave me 48 lakhs. So it prioritizing happiness and autonomy. I focus to transform every individual's life. And as I said, there's a big goal that is waiting for me. I always say, even to my kid, ஏனியை வந்து கூரையில் போடாத, வானத்தில் போடு. English. Don't put your ladder in the roof. Put your ladder to the sky. Feed your faith until your doubt starves to death. That's exactly what I do. No, I always say, fear clogs you. Faith liberates you. Doubt creates a mountain. Faith tunnels you through the mountain. And my friends, darkness is not the end of life. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And I always stay hunger. Nothing gives me a satisfaction. As I say, in business, the moment you say, I'm satisfied, you don't grow. You think of scale. I need to grow. I need to make it big. Have I got the ingredients to make it big? That's a question that I keep asking every day to myself. How many of you know Novak Djokovic? Many of us know, but still, he's the one who keeps talking to himself when he's playing. Have you noticed? Why does he do so? Exactly. He keeps saying, no, backhand po, forehand po. So the reason why I'm quoting Novak Djokovic, I also play badminton. So I freak out badminton every day in the morning. எனக்கு காலைல 6 மணிக்கு கையெல்லாம் நடுங்கும். சாயங்காலம் 6 மணிக்கு கைகள் நடுந்தா வேற விஷயம். காலையில் 6 மணிக்கு கை நடுங்கலாம். And how many of you know this gentleman? The gentleman on this picture. I'll tell you. This man is the biggest producer. His first product got released in the year 1975, which was a super hit. And he released another product in 19th of October 1978, which is standing tall in front of you, which is a super duper failure. Which is a super duper failure. Summala failure kedada, adi bumper failure. So I used to be the worst when it comes to academics. I always used to be an outstanding student. You know why? The teacher, the first thing that she does is, please go out. Prasanna, class out vella poiru. And rest of the student, please attend the class. So that's a kind of credibility that I have gained in academics. So the point I'm trying to say is, this man identified a small cap in me, and he kept investing in me. When the entire community, entire fraternity, even the neighbor, opposite வீட்டு party, everybody says that, உங்கள் பையனை பேசாமல் ஒரு வில்டராவோ ஃபிட்டராவோ டர்னராவோ ஆக்கிடுங்க, அவன் ஏதாவது மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் கம்பெனிக்கு போகிறதுக்கு தான் லாய்க்கு. The reason why I'm saying this is, there's nothing new that I'm saying to you. It's only my experience that I'm sharing it to you. I have no shame in accepting that I was a miserable failure. So he kept believing in me and he kept investing in me. The small cap, which is now, initially what he gave was 48 lakhs as investment, should be more than 25-30 times of what he has given to me. As I said, it's only simple thing, faith. இவனடா அவன் சம்பாதிச்சுட்டு வந்து திமிரா பேசுகிறான், சம்பாதிச்சனால தான் திமிரா பேசுகிறேன். So let's just listen to this audio, which I felt I was motivated. So I thought probably I'll share this audio to you. என்னங்க ஆடியோவே வரல, வருதா?
Before you make big decisions in your life, when it comes to what you want to do, you must think clearly. Very important. Thinking clearly means the question is not about what will get me this, what will get me that. Is your life precious to you? Follow the master. Your life, is it precious to you? So before you invest this life into something, whether today for investment life, after 25 years, you will still mean a lot to me. After 50 years, you will still mean a lot to me. At the end of my life, you will turn back and like, look, will I be proud of this or will I be ashamed of what I'm doing right now? It doesn't matter what other people say. If you should not do anything that you will feel ashamed of, isn't this so? It doesn't matter, people say so many things. Everybody has an opinion, is that this? But you don't do something that you will feel ashamed of. Then you are going against yourself. Somebody turns against you, you can leave them and go somewhere else. If you turn against yourself, you will have to live with it forever. So this is all you have to look at. Something will give you money, something will give you comfort, that's not the point. What you choose to do, will it give you a life? When I say give you a life, are you just trying to make a living or are you trying to make a life out of this? Important. Making a living is not an issue. A worm, an insect, a bird, an animal, all of them are making a life, making a living. They're even making a life out of it, but definitely they're making a living. So making a living with such a big brain is not an issue. Earning your food is not an issue. Making a living is not an issue. Only problem is you want to live like somebody else, that's another problem. I want to live is not a problem. I want to live like you, this is a problem. So, it is important. If you consider your life as a precious time, you must make sure you want to live out of this. Whatever opens up that direction, that is the thing you should do. But when you are under pressure of fear, somebody is saying I'm going to America, somebody says I'm going to the government job, somebody says I'm doing this. One thing that all of you should do before you make big decisions in your life is withdraw from these pressures of peers, professors, parents, everybody. Spend 3 days, 1 week by yourself. Look at it. What is it that you really want to do? Not under pressure from other people. What does this life want to do? Do that. It doesn't matter what other people think about it.
Friends, the reason why I'm sharing this audio is this is exactly what happened to me 28th of May 2015. I withdraw from the pressure. I was being laid off. I told you I was being laid off. ஒரு half bottle எடுத்துகிட்டு போய் மாடியில் உட்காந்துட்டேன். எனக்கு தெரியல என்ன பண்ணுறதுன்னு. Next month I do not have that capacity to service my EMIs. I withdrew from the pressure and I kept telling to myself, there's something that I need to do. So, and typically the reason why I'm sharing this is actually, see, I always say, life is like a piano. White key is happiness. Black key is sad moments. But without pressing both the keys, you will not be able to get sweet music. As I said, what I didn't do anything rocket science. I just adapted to technology. I did not use any paper. I improved my efficiency, scalability, and convenience for investors. There is a mobile application, and I don't know how many of us have a mobile application here. See, very few. The point is, in Kurukshetra war, what happened in Mahabharata? Exactly, Lord Krishna preached, Arjuna, correct? And in Kurukshetra war, it is a fight, right? What are we fighting against? What are we fighting against? Who's our competition? Have you ever asked this question to yourself? Who's your competition? Fintech, the organized thieves, bankers. Correct? You know the best thing for a woman, you know what is the best thing for a woman, ma'am? Kurugurun paakringle enna. You know, the best thing for a woman is to see a woman fatter than her. You know, the best thing for an IFA is to see a client who's been handled by a banker. Because it makes my job very easy. See, because all goof up, all mistakes he would have already done. All I had to do is just correct the mistakes and catch hold of the client. I am not catching him for 1 month. I am catching his generations for years. I always think beyond India. I have an office in Valasravakam, but I make the entire industry, entire India work for me. How? Simple. Mukesh Ambani is my employee. Ratan Tata was my employee. He passed away. Apollo Pratap Reddy is my employee. Exactly. See, for me, the simplest way of making money is to make the entire industry work for me. See, I'll give you a simple perspective. If today Gen Z has started consuming more, and everybody has started analyzing the Gen Z's consumption pattern, and how many of you have Zomato apps here? Everybody has a Zomato app. So you're inviting what? Liver problem? All, whatever, after 40. After 40, you're inviting all the problems. But till 40, what you're doing? You're enjoying your life. But actually, I'm making money in this because I'm an investor in Zomato. I'm just giving, don't take me wrong. Tomorrow, don't go and invest in Zomato. Say that, I've lost 20%. That's not the idea. The point I'm trying to say is, where the Gen Z invest money for enjoyment, I own that. I'll give you a simple example. How many of you know this gentleman called Rakesh Junjunwala? I'm sure many of you know. What is his first investments? 5,000 rupees. What was his net worth when he died? And what he did? Which stock gave him the, exuberant returns? Titan. Can we just rewind? Mudalvan படத்துல வர மாதிரி நம்ம லைஃப்லயும் VCRல இருக்கிற மாதிரி ரீவைண்டிங்னு ஒரு பட்டன் இருந்தா எவ்வளவு நன்னா இருக்கும். So I'll just take you, what exactly happened. During 75, 80s, typically the household, where do they go and invest money? Correct? And, sorry, bank FD ஓடுங்க கோல்டு தாங்க. எங்கள் அம்மா பெரியம்மா சித்தியெல்லாம் கேட்டிங்க அப்படின்னா டப்புன்னு போய் கோல்டு வாங்கிடுவாங்க. குனிஞ்சு எந்திரிச்சிருப்பேன், அதுக்குள்ளே ஒரு காயின் வாங்கி வந்துடுவாங்க. லக்ஷ்மி காயின்டா வச்சுக்கோ அப்படின்னு, நன்னா இருப்பேன் நீ அப்படின்னு. விற்கிறவன் தான் நன்னா இருந்தான், நான் நன்னாவே இல்லை. So the point I'm trying to say is, what happened was, during 75, 80s, people went and invested in gold. And who made money in the process? You? And what Titan did? He was trying to get everything into organized jewelry. And what Rakesh Junjunwala did? You went and invested money in gold, he bought Titan. Exactly. So how many of you here have a bank account? But ask these questions to your customers. Do you have a bank account? I'm sure you have a bank account. Everybody has a bank account. Without bank account, invest பண்ண முடியாது. But இந்த question customer கிட்ட கேளுங்கன்னு நான் சொல்றேன். You have a bank account. Do you own the bank? You travel in a bike. Do you own the company? So exactly, this is where it is, the difference. When it comes to investments, you have to think differently. That is where you make money. Not for you, for your customers as well. And last but not the least, you always have an empathy for the customer. Think from his shoes. Tell him, you think, you're 30 years of age. And today, this is the cost of running your family. 20 years down the line, what will be the cost of running your family? Make him understand that there's something called inflation, which will eat away not just you, your entire family's net worth, and it will make you poorer. But communicate in a language that he'll be able to understand. And these are some things, which everybody knows. I'm just trying to reiterate the fact, that's it. See, what are we playing against? We are playing against uncertainty, inflation, taxes, emotions. Do you think an investor can handle all these things on his own? Do you think he's got the capability to handle everything? Skill comes to the third slide, I'm not leaving anything unturned. And last but not least, the investor behavior, emotions. What the MNCs sell? Many of us, we have to understand, and there is always somebody who's been successful. I say this statement, when it comes to success. Success is something, there's lots of people who have succeeded, correct? For people who have succeeded and they've made tons and tons of money, they succeeded because they are destined to. I have succeeded because I was determined to. It makes a difference. Apple sells innovation, not gadgets. Rolex sells status, not watches. Lego sells creativity, not toys. Coca-Cola sells happiness, not drinks. Tesla sells future, not cars. Amazon sells convenience, not products. Nike sells motivation, not shoes. Ferrari sells passion, not cars. Red Bull sells energy, not drinks. My own friend here drinks 8 Red Bulls every day. 8 Red Bulls every day. He thinks that it gives him energy. So what is our understanding from this? What is our understanding from this? What are we supposed to sell? இப்ப தெரியுதா மெடிக்கல் ஷாப் வியாபாரியை கொண்டு வந்து MFD ஆக்குனீங்கன்னா இப்படிதான். I am here to control emotions and investors' behavior. I am not here to sell anything. The moment you become a salesperson, what? Everybody will buy. But the point is, you quote it in a different way. That's exactly what I'm saying. See, for me, I classify my investors into 3 buckets: wealth preservation, wealth accumulation, and risk protection. I protect their life by giving them the required protection. I never sell anything beyond term insurance. So then comes to your wealth accumulation and wealth preservation. There's one customer of mine, as I said, who's invested, in small cap fund, who's 80 years plus, and he has huge amount of money. And he says, small cap la ipo ஏறி இருக்கு, நம்ம போர்ட்ஃபோலியோ சேர்ன் பண்ணி ரீபேலன்ஸ் பண்ணிடலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. சார் உங்ககிட்ட இவ்வளோ பணம் இருக்கே, எடுத்துக்கிட்டா போகிறீங்க. யூ ஆர் கோயிங் டு பாஸ் இட் ஆன் டு த நெக்ஸ்ட் ஜென்ரேஷன். உங்களுக்கு ஸ்மால் கேப் ஏறிடுச்சு, உங்களுக்கு ரெண்டல் இன்கம் வருது. உங்கள் கிராண்ட் சனுக்கு 10 years, 15 years, if he holds the money, the kind of wealth that you will be able to create for the next generation is much beyond what you think. So what is the reason for you to rebalance the portfolio? You already lived your life. You are 80 years plus. இதுக்கு மேலே இருக்கிறதே போனஸ். சார் 8 இயர்ஸ்க்கு கொடுங்கன்னு நான் சொல்லலை சார். So my objective, you don't take me wrong, I never recommended you to sell small cap for an 8-year investor. I'm telling you that, the investor who is invested for his grandson, there's no reason for him to churn the portfolio. You can put it in micro cap also, but the point I'm trying to say is he has already made his money. He's saying, I want to rebalance the portfolio. Why should he rebalance the portfolio at this point in time? What is he going to do at the end of the day? Why only 3% of the people invest in equities? So what is our duty? So why 3% of the people invest? Fear of loss. I will lose my money. Tell me one asset class which gets valued on an everyday basis, which is so transparent, which is being regulated by the regulators. Tell me one asset class. If that cannot create wealth, which asset class can create wealth for you? Are you talking this language to the customers? காலையில் எந்திரிச்சோடனே HLL குளிக்கிறீங்க, நைட்டு குளிக்கிறவங்களை தான் சார் கேட்கணும். So the point is, so equity is a part and parcel of your life. Two asset classes where most of the people have invested and made money, gold and real estate. Do you think our household women, they are excellent and then super talented, they'll be able to track the gold price? Why they have made money? Emotion. So I'll tell you what, the household gold that we hold, அதெல்லாம் விட்டுருங்க, எனக்கு நம்பர்லாம் தெரியாதுங்க. The household assets that we hold as gold, which is much beyond Zimbabwe's GDP. மணி அடிச்சிட்டாரு அவரு, இன்னொரு 10 நிமிஷம் எடுத்துக்கலாமா? So but why? I'll just skip a couple of the presentations. Sundar, I hope I have time, 10 minutes. Yeah. So the point I'm trying to say is, think long term. When it comes to equities, எப்படி கோல்டை ஒரு எமோஷனலாக கனெக்ட் ஆகி நீங்கள் இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுறீங்களோ, அதே மாதிரி ஈக்விட்டிங்கிற அசட் கிளாஸையும் எமோஷனலாக கனெக்ட் ஆகி இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுங்கள். நம்ம என்ன பண்ணணும், எல்லாரையும் எமோஷனாக மாற்றணும். கட்சி எடுத்துட்டு போயிருங்க கஸ்டமர் வீட்டில், கண்ணீர் விட வைங்க அவங்கள. You can't build a long-term future on a short-term thinking. It's not where we invest, but how we invest makes the difference. I always say one thing, investing is like a test match, playing a test match. What do we do when it comes to test match? You get a juicy full toss. What do you do, Sukumar? Juicy full toss on the half side? So you get a juicy full toss, you go and hit it, right? You get a half volley, what do you do? You go for a cover drive. You get a half tracker, what do you do? Exactly. You get a bouncer, what do you do? தோனி படத்தில் வந்த டயலாக் தாங்க நான் திருடிக்கிட்டேன், காப்பிரைட்டே இல்லாமல். So exactly, markets will give you opportunities. For you to take that opportunity of the market, what you are supposed to do? Stay in the grease. Leave the balls outside the half stump. Go for a hook, go for a pull, but play the ball on the merit. There is always a blessing in disguise. I tell, there are 3 Lakshmis. I tell my customers, there are 3 Lakshmis. What are those 3 Lakshmis? I could be wrong. Swarna Lakshmi, Saraswati, Annapurni. Correcta? There's a blessing in disguise. இன்றைக்கி லக்ஷ்மி ரூபத்தில், ஸ்வர்ண லக்ஷ்மி ரூபத்தில் ஆம்பளையாக நான் உங்களுக்கு வந்து காலிங் பெல் அடித்து உங்கள் வீட்டுக்கு வந்திருக்கேன். என்னை எடுத்துகிட்டு போய் உங்கள் பூஜை ரூமில் வச்சு பூஜை பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னா உங்களை பணக்காரன் ஆக்குவேன். இல்லைனா all the 3 Devis will come with you and stay with you for your life. Who are those 3 Devis? சொல்ல வேண்டான்னு பார்த்தேன். So it's up to you, which industry where people go, press the calling bell, come to your house, make you learn, understand and make you wealthier. சத்தியமாக சொல்கிறேன், நீங்கள் என்ன தேடி வரணும், நான் உங்களை தேடி வந்திருக்கேன். blessing in disguise. கொஞ்சம் இந்த லக்ஷ்மி கொஞ்சம் வந்து நல்லா இல்லை தான், என்ன பண்ணுறது, கொஞ்சம் டாலரேட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. The key transformation that is happening in India, social, political and economical. How many of us buy online stuffs? Correct? Today I go and see for a shoe, every day, காலையில் எந்திரிச்சோன்னே ஒரு ஷூ ஆட வரும். நந்து பிராண்ட் லுங்கி யாராவது பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா? அந்த லுங்கி கடைக்காரன் மட்டும் அந்த லுங்கி கம்பெனிக்காரன் மட்டும் என் கையில் கட்டான்னு வைங்க, 4 தலைமுறை தோண்டி எடுத்து திட்டுவேன். அதாவது ஏர்போர்ட் லாஞ்சில் போவாராம், லுங்கி கட்டிகிட்டே போவாராம். ஆஃபீஸ் போர்ட் மீட்டிங் போவாராம், லுங்கி கட்டிக்கிட்டே போவாராம். இதெல்லாம் பரவாயில்ல, பேராஷூட்டில் குதிக்கிறார் லுங்கி கட்டிக்கிட்டே. லுங்கி எப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு வேறு, அதை கட்டிட்டு பேராஷூட்லேருந்து குதிச்சா என்ன ஆகும்? ஃப்ரீ ஷோ தான். நான் தான் சொல்கிறேன், என்ன செலவானாலும் பரவாயில்ல, நந்து பிராண்ட் லுங்கி நான் வாங்கிக்கிறேன், தயவுசெய்து உங்கள் அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட்டை போட்டு போட்டுறாதீங்கடா டே. The point I'm trying to say is social and political and economic things. Today, we buy everything using a mobile phone. The consumption is happening from your mobile phones. Do you think the consumption will increase? It will, it has to. And who's going to make money? No, the manufacturer, the producer. As an investor, you will keep consuming 2 masala dosa, geti chutney. But the investor will make money. Investor never makes money unless and until he invests money. Do equity as yoga. Every day practice it. It's a pranayama. கார்த்தால ஜிம்முக்கு போயிட்டு ஒர்க் அவுட் பண்ணிட்டு சாயங்காலம் மிரர் கிட்ட போய் பைசப்ஸ் ஏறி இருக்கா அப்படின்னு பார்ப்போம். ஒரு வாரம் ஜிம்முக்கு போயிட்டு ட்ரைசப்ஸ் இப்படி பார்த்துட்டீங்கன்னா ட்ரைசப்ஸ் ஏறவே இல்லை அப்படின்னு. ஸோ த பாயிண்ட் இஸ், you can't expect results in 6 months, but you can expect results in 6 years. That is what is the difference. Are we communicating the right language to our customers makes the difference. The 9 rules of equity investment. Understanding equity, know why you are in this game. So all these things I think bell அடிச்சிருவாரு வெங்கட். ஜென்ரலி நான் என்ன பண்ணுவேன் அப்படின்னா, ஸ்கூலில் கடைசி பெல் அடிக்கிறதுக்கு 10 நிமிஷம் முன்னாடியே புக்கு பை எல்லாத்தையும் ரெடியாக வச்சுருவேன். டோர் பக்கத்துலேயே போய் உட்காந்துக்குவேன். பெல் அடிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஓடிடுவேன். சார் எல்லாரும் அப்படி தான், பட் என்னோட படித்து படியாளாக இருக்காங்கல்ல. அதான் நான் சொன்னேனே, இந்த மேடையில் யாரெல்லாம் பேசினாங்களோ அவங்கெல்லாம் மச் டேலண்டட். இந்த மேடையை திஷ்டி கழிக்கிறதுக்காக நான் இங்கே வந்திருக்கேன், அவ்வளோதான். I'll just, this is something like, why a SIP? It is tactical, it is financial, it is a scripture, it is psychological, it is leak proof, expectation proof, inflation proof. Everything is proof for you. Take a sip and forget for the rest of your life. It will make you a karma yogi. போதி தர்மருக்கு அப்புறம் மீதி தர்மம் நீங்கள் தான். This is exactly why I say சச்சின் டெண்டுல்கருக்கு ஒரு கோச் வேணும், நோவாக் ஜோகோவிச்சுக்கு ஒரு கோச் வேணும், ரோஜர் ஃபெடரருக்கு ஒரு கோச் வேணும். அவங்கெல்லாம் விளையாட தெரியாதவங்களா, படிப்பறிவு இல்லாதவங்களா? அவங்களுக்கு தெரியும், they know how to play, but why they have a coach? It's a third angle. That's exactly where I come in. I have the time, I have the skill set, I have the experience, I have the expertise, and I have the knowledge to deliver more than your requirement. Do you have all these expertise? Are we asking this question to the customers? Do it investors பண்ணுவாங்க சார், இன்னைக்கு வந்துருவாங்க. அதான் நான் சொன்னேனே, அதாவது புல் மார்க்கெட்டில் எல்லாம் பேசிவை பற்றி பேசினானுங்க, இன்னைக்கு வாயே திறக்க மாட்டானுங்க. This is just one slide which talks about China story. I'll just quickly run through this slide. 1990, India per capita income and China's per capita income was one and the same. What China did was right and what we did was wrong. China ventured into manufacturing. இன்றைக்கி நீங்கள் ரோலெக்ஸ்னு ஒரு வாட்ச் கண்டுபிடிச்சிங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, அடுத்த வாரம் சைனாவில் டூப்ளிகேட் ரிலீஸ் பண்ணிடுவான். ஐஃபோனை கண்டுபிடிக்கிறவனே 10 வருஷம் கழித்து கண்டுபிடிப்பான், இவன் 10 நாளில் டூப்ளிகேட் பண்ணிடுவான். So the point I'm trying to say is they were excellent when it comes to manufacturing. Where we lost the race to China? Manufacturing used to be 40% of India's GDP. There used to be times. Today, services industry is 56% of India's GDP. So what's happening? Our thinking tanks, what we are doing? Did we reduce the corporate tax in 2018? Did the budget reduce the corporate tax in 2018? Why the corporate tax was reduced? தனி ஒருவன் படம் பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா? தனி ஒருவன் படம் லாஸ்ட் பேஜில் வர ஆடுக்கும் லாஸ்ட் பேஜில் வர ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் நியூஸுக்கும் ஃபஸ்ட்டு பேஜில் வர ஆடுக்கும் என்ன சம்மந்தம்? ஐ கிவ் யூ சிம்பிள் பர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ். அதாவது சூர்யா படம் வெள்ளிக்கிழமை அன்னைக்கு ஞாயிற்றுக்கிழமை அன்னைக்கு ரிலீஸ் ஆக போகுது அப்படின்னா, இல்லைன்னா வெள்ளிக்கிழமை அன்னைக்கு ரிலீஸ் ஆக போகுது, அதுக்கு முன்னாடி சூர்யாவை பற்றி பேசுவாங்க, சூர்யாவை பற்றி டிஜிட்டல் ப்ரமோட். ஐ ஹேவ் நத்திங் அகெயின்ஸ்ட் சூர்யா, டோன்ட் டேக் மீ ராங், ஐ எம் ஜஸ்ட் கிவிங் அன் எக்ஸாம்பிள். ஸோ சூர்யாவை பற்றி பேசுவாங்க, சூர்யா படத்தை பற்றி ப்ரமோட் பண்ணுவாங்க. வை? brand recall kaga. So the point I'm trying to say is we lost the race in China, and 2018 what happened was the think tanks, our regulators reduced the corporate taxes, and what happened, our exports, merchandise exports from India, which used to be to the potential of Vietnam, Thailand and Indonesia. Is that what India's potential is? Are we equivalent to Vietnam, Thailand and Indonesia? And we used to export 290 billion, and now since 2018, our exports have gone up close to 420 billion. So my point is, are we heading in the right direction? Yes, we are heading in the right direction. Is our fiscal deficit under control? Are we getting everything organized? How many of you are scared about income tax? 25 வருஷம் முன்னாடி 20 வருஷம் முன்னாடி how many of you were scared? Today everybody is scared. ஐயோ நான் டிஸ்க்ளோஸ் பண்ணலன்னா எனக்கு வீட்டுக்கு லவ் லெட்டர் வந்துருமே. அழகாக இருக்கிற காலத்தில், படிக்கிற காலத்தில் லவ் லெட்டரே வந்ததில்லை. இப்போ இன்கம் டேக்ஸ்லேருந்து வந்துருமோ அப்படிங்கிற பயம் இருக்குது எனக்கு. I'll give you the last this thing. This is the number of IPOs which has happened since 2014 to 2018. 2019லேருந்து 23ல எவ்வளோ நம்பர் ஆஃப் IPOs வந்திருக்கு அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு 442 IPOs. What is the number of listed companies in India? Any idea? 6,000 listed companies are there. 8% ஃப்ரெஷ்ஷாக IPOs வந்திருக்குங்க கடந்த 4 வருஷத்தில். Isn't that something big? What is that we connect out of it? What is that we draw out of it? விடிய கதை கேட்டு சீதைக்கு ராம சித்தப்பானா கூட பரவாயில்ல, பெரியப்பா அப்படின்ட்டிங்களே. That's what I'm saying. It could be 890 IPOs. The point I'm trying to say is, அன்ஆர்கனைஸ்டாக இருக்கிற விஷயங்கள் எல்லாமே ஆர்கனைஸ்ட் ஆகிட்டு வருது. அன்ஆர்கனைஸ்டான விஷயம் ஆர்கனைஸ்ட் ஆகிட்டு வருது அப்படின்னா நீங்களும் ஆர்கனைஸ்ட் ஆகிட்டு வரணும் ஃபார் யூ டு ஸ்கேல். There's one saying, அதாவது in குருஷேத்திர வாரில் கர்மண்யேவாதிகாரஸ்தே மா ஃபலேஷு கதாச்சனா மா கர்ம ஃபலே பித்ருபு மா தே சங்கோஸ்துவ கர்மனே. இது சத்தியமாக எனக்கு மீனிங்லாம் தெரியாது, நேற்று தான் மனப்பாடம் பண்ணேன். Let's just look at what this slide says, and after this we'll just sum up. Bell அடிச்சிடாதீங்க.
In the great epic Mahabharata, the Pandavas struggle for dominance that led to the great Kurukshetra war. At the start of the war, the great Pandav warrior Arjuna was reluctant to fight. He lamented to Lord Krishna that he would become a sinner if he killed his own gurus, grandfathers and other king, all for the mere gain of the kingdom. He worried for the future of the wives and the children of all the men he would slay. He felt that he'd rather give up his life than be the cause of so much misery. Lord Krishna reproached him for displaying such immaturity and mistaking it for wisdom. Lord Krishna then explained the Sankhya Yoga, the philosophies of the mortal body and the eternal Atma. The human body is terminal. It performs.
The human body is terminal. It's mortal. அதாவது பிரெயின்லேருந்து சிக்னல் வர வரைக்கும் தான் அந்த உடம்பு சரீரம் இருக்கும். பிரெயின்லேருந்து சிக்னல் போச்சு அப்படின்னா the human body is dead. ஆத்மா is always going to survive for years. அதுக்கு அழிவே கிடையாது. That's exactly what he says.
Following simple instructions from the brain until the inevitable death stops it. But the Atma is eternal, which cannot be affected by any force. It's the mind that wanders restlessly among unending paths, driven by a single force, awareness of the self. This awareness then forms personal identity and the human ego. It is that ego that sets expectations and desperately seeks the desired results, not realizing that the human body can only produce a predictable outcome, but not control the outcome of any action. That's when Lord Krishna spoke these lines. Karmanyevadhikaraste. You have the right to only perform your duty. Ma phaleshu kadarjana. But not entitled to the fruits of that action. Ma phaleshu. Never base your actions on the desired results. Ma te samutsuvarmani. Nor attach yourself to them. Thus, he taught Arjuna that his duty on the battlefield as a warrior was to fight, no matter who his opponents were or what the outcome might be. In essence, Lord Krishna's advice to Arjuna and to the reader of the Bhagavad Gita is to neither choose our actions based on any desired outcome, nor attach yourself to the results. Instead, we should focus on performing our duties without expecting any return. This is one of the key teachings of the Bhagavad Gita to guide the reader to find true happiness and inner peace.
Last but not the least, your thoughts become your karma. Karma becomes your habit. Habit becomes your character. And boss, believe me, character determines your destiny. Success is not just about what you accomplish, it is about what you inspire others to do. And I hope I have done justice for the time that has been given to me. Thanks a lot for a patient listening, and it was always a pleasure to be a part of this fraternity. Thank you. Thanks.
Please wait for 2 minutes. We'll officially close the meeting.